Hello and welcome to Episode 3 of Creating Worlds at WNTE. This is actually at Commonwealth University Mansfield, coming to you from Ihwa in Seoul, South Korea. Today, we will be interviewing fellow students on their experiences with video games and how they affect their social and professional lives. Would you mind introducing yourself, your name and where you go to school and stuff?
Hi, I'm Ronnie. I'm a DIS major at Ihwa University.
Hi, my name is Dan, and I go to James Madison University.
My name is Caleb. I'm a biochemistry major. I go to school at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. And so my major is biochemistry, minor in mathematics.
How long have you been playing video games?
Basically, as long as I can remember. I think I started at 7-ish.
Pretty much my entire life. I mean, I wasn't really as much of a player as a watcher when I was younger with my older brother, but I'd still be player 2 pretty much as soon as I could hold the controller.
Easily my whole life, as long as I can remember. I maybe started when I was maybe about 3 years old. That's I think that's when the Wii came out. It was 2006, so probably about 3 years old.
How did you start?
Well, my first video game was I was gifted a used Nintendo DS, yeah.
I grew up playing DS games too. I enjoy those. What is your favorite part about gaming?
I don't know, I kind of like puzzles in general. It's kind of like Sudoku with a lot of games, a lot of little math things. I mean, some of them are more strategy-based and all that, but...
Well, I play a lot of indie games, and I really appreciate how a video game is essentially a medium of art now. It's it has all the best parts of a movie or a comic book. If you find the right video game, you can have a really special kind of experience that you really can't get with any other forms of storytelling media.
I've always been more of a story guy. So I think video games represent a fascinating media of delivering stories that are not available to other types. It's much more interactive in allowing almost a personalized approach to a story. And I think that's something that you don't really get with, let's say, reading books, watching movies, watching TV. It's something I feel that's more personal.
Do you socialize through video games, or do you play with your friends at all?
I have, but it's never been consistent. It's kind of a mix between people that I make friends with through a game versus people who I'm friends with already, and then we'll learn that they play a game and we'll both play together. But part of it's, I think, me and how I never end up sticking to one game too long.
Of course I do. I've been getting back into competitive Overwatch, which is a big team effort. But other than that, I just play video games to chill out with friends.
I used to. Gaming for me used to be a very social aspect, particularly when I was a kid. And, through middle school and high school. But as I've gotten older and as I've kind of gone off to school and, done my own thing, I find that video games are a really good opportunity to kind of, I don't want to say isolate myself, but to kind of have a quiet space where I don't have to socialize.
Okay. How do you feel that video games affect your social life? Positively, negatively?
Personally, I don't think it does, but I think that it does positively and negatively affect a lot of the people that I have played with. Jumping back over to my brothers again, both of them, while not having much of a social life in person with people, and despite them being quite introverted, my older brother, he definitely has tons of online friends and people that he plays games with, and that's most of the people that he's friends with. But as for my younger brother, most of the time when he games, he's very much a single-player game type person. So he'll pretty much talk to anyone because he kind of just self-isolates himself with games.
I think they have a net positive because I feel video games tend to make you more social. But if it's having a negative social issue, impact on your life, I think there's some other issues going on in your life that you're trying to solve with video games.
Do you ever feel judged for playing video games? Do you think there's any sort of stigma or assumptions people have about people that play video games?
100%. I mean, more often than not, if someone asks me if I play, if somebody asks me what my hobbies are, I meet a lot of new people all the time. I am very less likely to say that I play video games as opposed to any of my other hobbies. I will always list those first because people always have some type of preconceived opinion. If you say, "Oh, I play video games," for lack of a better term, they'll kind of just think you're a loser.
Oh yeah, I don't think altogether, but I think for some people they do view it that way.
Not really anymore because especially since like the pandemic, everyone plays at least like one video game, I think. So it's less judgmental.
Do your classmates or coworkers, do a lot of them play video games?
More often than not, yes. With the environments that I'm typically in, I'm surrounded by a lot of other scientists and mathematicians, and commonly, I have found that a lot of people in these settings are kind of nerdy.
Do you think your gaming habits have impacted your success in work or school?
No.
Somewhat, I guess.
It could be positive or negative.
Well, definitely positive. I'm better at like meeting new people after like meeting a bunch of people on like video games, and also a lot of video games I play, you really need like a lot of like self-awareness or like spatial reasoning,
Okay.
which I think it's kind of hard to measure personally, but I feel like it's generally had a positive impact on me.
It has definitely been influential. Something that I've particularly picked up from video games is I'm a bit of a completionist. I find that the mindset that I picked up from video games to just explore everything for the sake of exploring can translate very, very well to my research.
Right, okay. Wait, I feel like this ties into that question then. But do you think you've gained any skill sets from gaming that you can apply elsewhere?
I'd probably say hand-eye coordination, but that's definitely just one I've heard online tons of times. Personally, I don't know if there's anything specific outside of kind of like the repeated action, since I like puzzle games of like math or basic logic, but outside of that, no, not really.
I play a lot of like single player indie games, and I feel like because those games are so like story driven, it actually helped me a lot because with like analysis stuff, because in high school my main subjects were like English literature, and now it's like international politics. So like it kind of taught me how to be very multidimensional and like analysis, I guess.
Okay, and last question. What is your favorite video game?
My favorite video game is Fear and Hunger Termina. It's a masterpiece in my opinion.
I guess for all time, I'd have to say probably Halo Reach.
At least for right now, Fallout New Vegas.
Okay, and thank you all for sharing. And thank you for listening to Creating Worlds.